We are happy to have with us today a stalwart of the steel industry. He is a technocrat of the core steel sector. He has worked in steel, power, mining, and cement. With 36 years of experience in all these sectors, a mechanical engineer by educational qualification, then a master's degree in business administration from UK. We are happy to have with us today Mr. Vidya Ratan Sharma, or popularly known as Mr. V.R. Sharma, Managing Director of Jindal Steel and Power Limited. Sir, we welcome you today in our live section of Steel Scenario.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Sir, so the first question I would like to ask you, what has been the most crucial learning experience for you in handling this 11.6 million ton per annum steel production unit during this COVID period?
Thanks a lot. It's a very relevant question because the country has been passing through a very challenging time, and so is the steel industry. So we discussed with Government of India, and finally the steel industry was declared as essential services industry on 22nd of March. Then we thought how to plan. This is a essential services industry. It has been declared, so we can run. But we had to take care of our people. We had to take care of their health, safety. We had to maintain the social distancing. How would we run the plant? How would we sell the goods? And how would we transport the goods?
Right.
So we did a brainstorming, and then we found the easy answer to the complex problem is to export. So what we did on 22nd March, the lockdown was declared. And on 24th March, we started working and started hunting the export orders. So we did it very strategically and very carefully. We mapped the entire world, that where all the COVID has disturbed the steel industries and steel supplies. So we found the whole of the Europe, be it Italy, France, Spain, Switzerland, Germany, they were the victim right in the month of January, and many of their mills, they were closed in February. So we found there is a vacuum in the market, and the traders were interested in buying the steel, so that whenever the COVID lockdown is uplifted, at that time they can sell to the market.
Right.
So we started booking from Europe. Then finally we came down to Middle East.
Okay.
So we started booking from Middle East, because most of the Middle East traders, they were buying from either from Korea or from China or from Europe, or mainly from Turkey. So since most of the mills in Europe, they were down, and Chinese were still struggling how to cope up after the pandemic, and they were unable to dispatch or ship the material to the rest of the world. The other was, people were a little scared that if the vessel is coming from China, then their ports will not allow the vessels to sail in, because they were scared that maybe the crew members, if they are affected by a pandemic or this COVID-19, then their domestic workers for loading, unloading, they will get infected.
Right.
So most of the mills in Middle East, they stopped buying from China, or they suspended their orders. So they thought that till the time there is a total protection of our people and the crew members are fully safe, we will not bring material from China.
Okay.
India was just at the beginning of this COVID situation. So they preferred India over China in imports. And we got that opportunity and cashed. And we started booking orders from all over the world.
Okay.
So the Europe to Middle East to UAE, UAE to Philippines, Indonesia, Cambodia, Taiwan, Vietnam, then Malaysia, so, and also Australia. So we booked a lot of orders, and finally we found that China is hungry for steel. There was a net shortage of about 20 million ton steel in China, and they were importing semi-finished goods from Ukraine and from Russia.
Mhm.
So when they were importing semi-finished from Ukraine and Russia, we found that all of a sudden the situation at Suez Canal, it was overcrowded, and the shipments were not reaching on time to Chinese ports. We discussed with a couple of Chinese trading houses, and they came forward and they shown their interest that yes, if you bring down the prices to a particular level, then I think we can work out. So then we discussed with a couple of Chinese and international multinational companies, trading companies, international trading companies, and we hit come up a few deals. So 3-4 deals of say about 30,000 ton each, so about 100,000 tons, and that was a turning point.
Okay.
So when in the COVID, nobody was performing, we started booking orders and started performing. So initially, the Chinese people and also the Southeast Asian countries, they were doubting on our capability to produce so much and to dispatch so much. But when they came to know that we are dispatching quite a lot and the shipments are coming on time, no force majeure issue, and all ports are okay, then they came back and they started booking, they started giving us orders. And from that time till today, it is never looking back. So we have booked a sizable quantity. I think in the 3 months we are going to complete close to 1 million ton exports.
Okay.
So this quarter, though it was very challenging, and though it was very bad for the entire nation, entire economy, so we could do it, and we had booked about 1 million ton orders, and that we are now servicing. So we have done in 2 months, in April and May, we have done about 650,000 tons. And in the month of March, we did about 120,000 tons. So total 770,000 tons. And I think 250,000 tons will be dispatching in June and maybe by first week of July. So this is what the situation is today. So we are lucky that we could get so much of orders, and we could continue our plants by maintaining a complete social distancing, because most of the products are semi-finished products. So we could stop some of the mills which are meant for the finishing, like plates, rails, and structures. So we could only export plates; those mills were running. But for domestic market, we could stop those mills, and we could transfer the people from one area to another area, and we ran the plant with only 50% total workforce, and which has helped our people and helped us.
Right. So did you at any point of time had to shut down your blast furnace, or even think about it to shut blast furnace, because your export has gone very well? And if you can just give the like our steel fraternity, what has been your taking point? What has been your learning learning experience?
We never thought to stop. We were debating within ourselves that if the situation is very precarious and government forces us to stop, then only we will see. But when we discussed with Ministry of Steel, so we are thankful to them. They understood that stopping or banking the blast furnace or reducing the production will not serve the purpose, and we must allow the steel industry to function.
Right.
So 22nd, the lockdown was declared. 23rd evening, the circular was out that steel industry will be treated as essential services, and anybody who is supplying to steel industry, I mean that industry like ferroalloys and some of the consumable manufacturers, so they were also treated as part of essential services. So thanks to the Secretary Steel and Honorable Minister, Mr. Pradhan, who took this very pragmatic view, and we didn't stop. We even didn't think to stop. So we kept continued, and we are getting the results. So there was no issue. So my message to the steel fraternity is only one, that the Prime Minister always says in each of his speech that there is always an opportunity in a bad time. So when the time is very challenging, so we find that the opportunities, they do exist, and this is what we availed. But yes, the opportunities are there. So we tried, and fortunately, I can tell that we have shown the path to the other peer group of mine, that is steel industry. When we were running our plant and we were exporting a lot, so they used to call me that what are you doing, how you are doing, and where are you selling? So I was always sharing with them that China is short of 20 million ton steel. I alone cannot give. JSPL cannot give 20 million ton steel. I mean, maybe in 3 months' time we can give 1 million, 1.2 million. So all of us jointly, we can sell at least 5 million ton steel in 3 months' time. So you also do. And they followed our advice, because ultimately we are Indian national, and as a country, if we can do something for the nation and for our to earn the foreign exchange, which was very much needed at that time, in the time of pandemic, when the revenues were at lowest. So I think steel industry as a whole has done very good. So now everybody is having order. They're exporting day in, day night. And after seeing us running, many of the steel mills, those who are not running, they also started running their blast furnaces and steel mills. So I think there is always a good time. But we learn from the proximity. So what our neighbor is doing, we like to do the same thing. So many times the learning from proximity is very good. So it was a very collaborative approach, and somehow we did it.
Good to hear. So, but is there anything special, as it is, the government of India has given quite a few package for the industry to handle the crisis they have gone through. But anything specific you think the government can pass on to the industry to take care of all the losses and the decline in demand that has taken place, with void in the laborers, because a lot of laborers have come back to their hometown? So any package which can drive the industry and boost it?
There are two things in it. One is government has done enough. First of all, we have to understand that the COVID is not brought by government.
Right.
It is neither a creation of Indian government nor it is brought by them. So it is brought by people. So who are these people? You and me and the common citizen, or the foreign travelers? They were the carrier of this COVID.
Right.
So first of all, we had to bail out government. We had to say that this is not a government fault. Because when something happens, we all start speaking, government has not done that, government has not done this. So I don't believe in this. Government has done enough.
Okay.
First of all, the government, after lockdown, government has taught us that this is a very serious virus. Government has taught us that it is very dreadful. Government has taught us how to prevent yourself without even medicines. So that is a great preaching what Government of India, and especially I'm thankful to the Honorable Prime Minister, who came 3 or 4 times on TV, and he was always telling, "Jaan hai to jahan hai." So we were not very much serious earlier in the month of March, because we were thinking that this pandemic cannot come to India, because we have a lot of temperature difference, this and that. So, but finally it has come. So that myth was washed away, and that was broken by the chairman, by the Prime Minister, and he told that we had to be very careful. So his teachings were very good, timely teachings were very good. So he did the lockdown, he declared the lockdown, first for 15 days or 20 days time, up to 15th April. Then it was extended up to 15th of May and so on. So lockdown 1, lockdown 2, lockdown 3, and also lockdown 4 partially. So we are thankful to him that he came as a teacher, preacher, nation's father or mentor, and he told everybody that please take care. So two things in it, in your question. One is we completely bail out the government's responsibility. They have not brought it. It is people who has brought it. But yes, as a government, they are responsible to take care of their people. So for that, they have done enough. Secondly, financially, they have done very good because they told that the moratorium will be applicable on all of the loans and interest and all of the government payments, whether it is GST or anything. So that was a great help. So now most of the industry people, they have already started utilizing the moratorium facility. So it is a very good facility. Now, next point number 3 is what do we need from government? We need from government only one thing, that as fast as possible, government must start spending on the government supported projects. Which are the government supported projects? Like defense is in government supported projects, warships, merchant ships, submarines, railway lines, new tracks, new coach building factories, new bus building factories, new orders to the defense sector manufacturers, defense equipment manufacturers. And we must try to, and the government must try to declare more and more airports, declare more and more new railway stations, declare more and more lining of canals and lining of rivers, declare more and more connectivity of river water to the city for drinking water or whatever for the daily use, so that government must prevent water going to sea. Because if they, in the coastal areas or even in the central part of country or northern part of country, whenever there is heavy rains, so at least 80% of water that flows back to the sea. So it is a very precious water. There is no shortage of water in the country. God has given enough rains in the country. So we had to collect that water. And the best way to collect this water, that after every 50 kilometer, there should be at least a 5 kilometer by 5 kilometer of lake, man-made lake. There is so much of land, barren land lying in the country. If we can have, there is 700 districts in the country, if we can have 2,000 or 2,500 ponds, 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer to 5 kilometer by 5 kilometer, or each 1 kilometer then 5 ponds, then you know what will happen. There'll be water shortage, nor the water table will go down. I mean, government must learn from two cities in the world. The one is old Kolkata and the other is Taipei city. In old Kolkata, you will find that all of the residential areas, they were having one pond where people used to wash, people used to even take bath, and people used to meet out their day-to-day water requirement. Similarly in Taipei. So Taipei, if you go to Taiwan and from aircraft, if you look down, you'll find so many water bodies, and you'll find so many ponds, and they enjoy. And this is what it is in Philippines. This is what it is in Cambodia. This is what it is in Indonesia. So I think the best time is now, and governments should start making ponds, and it should be lined. It should be RCC pond, so that you consume more cement and steel also. And then only the bottom of the pond should be I would say unlined, so that water will percolate inside the land. Whenever there is a more water, it will go inside, and otherwise water will stay on the bottom, and that becomes a new way of life in the country. Then the next is all of the projects related to railway, all of the projects related to highways, all of the projects related to ports, like the Sagarmala project of Government of India. So all of these projects should come as fast as possible. So what do we need from government? We do not need any cash compensation now. The moratorium can be extended up to December 31st, that's all. And government must encourage people to pay back their dues. We do not want that tomorrow the banks, they come into trouble. And because if banks, they do come into trouble, then the common man will come into trouble. Right. So the faith from economy that is washes away. So the best is that all of the government projects should be restarted and new projects should be launched. So this is what we are expecting from government.
Okay. So just now you were speaking about the government waiving of the GST for some period, then the moratorium. So don't you think already the government has gone ahead spending a lot from its kitty for handling the pandemic? Now with waiving of this GST and the moratorium, there can be certain kind of crunch in their financial resource, if I may put it like that. So if they have that financial crunch, be in a position to start all these infrastructural projects you were talking right now on immediate basis.
See, first of all, I do not support the waiver. There should not be any waiver. Okay. So why should be there any waiver? So the goods we are selling, we are collecting the GST. So we should deposit to the government.
Right.
So finally, there is no waiver required. Waiver is required only in terms of basically, not a waiver, I would say. A support is required in extending the repayments. Okay. Like moratorium. Moratorium means that whatever payments we were supposed to pay by 30th June, now government is allowing us to pay by 31st of August. Yeah. So what we need, that part of that, they may extend up to 31st of December.
Okay.
But no fiscal benefit in terms of cash or in terms of waiver of GST or any of the loans. So it is not a farmer's or agriculture loan. It is a business loan. It should not be waived. Mm-hmm. So that burden we should not put on government. So government has done enough, as I told you. Right. The interest are reduced, but the interest rate cannot be reduced beyond a particular point. Why? Because if the interest rate are reduced to a level of say 4% or 5%, then the depositors, they will take out their money and they will start buying like maybe gold or maybe some property. That will be again a dead investment. Right. So whether it's property or gold, people they buy, but they don't sell. Mm-hmm. So that means that money will not rotate. The economy will not work. Right. So the interest of a depositor is to be maintained so that depositors, they keep their money in the bank. Mm-hmm. If you are earning some money, if somebody is earning some money, at least 50% of that money or 20%, 10%, whatever possible, that after having met the day-to-day needs and expenses, people must save money and people must keep in the bank. Mm-hmm. And bank must service that money. Whether it is 5% interest or 6% interest or 7% interest, that does not matter. Right. But that should not be, the interest level should not be so low that people get scared and they start taking out money from bank and they start putting into gold or some other area. And then it will be disaster because slowly, gradually, the banks will become empty. Absolutely. When the banks will become empty, then they will come with another scheme, maybe after 2 years' time or 3 years' time, that, okay, you please bring the deposits, we'll give you 7% interest, 8% interest, 9% interest, 10% interest. That means very high rate of inflation. And that means the loans or the funds will be available to business at much higher rate. If bank is paying 7%, they cannot give loan at less than 9.5%. Yes. Because the 2% or 2.5% are their expenses also. So we have to speak to the government in a very pragmatic way that the depositor's interest must be protected always, so that the money is always brought to banks and banks can invest this money through companies, through some other securities, or through in the form of loans or or working capital, and they must earn money. So this is how the cycle runs. So no waiver of any kind. First of all, no reduction in the interest beyond a point.
Okay.
I mean, depositors' interest has to be protected. We have to find a trade-off in between the mindset and interest of a depositor versus the mindset and interest of a business person. So that trade-off is necessary in life. If one person feels that now my interest rate should go to 10%, and the other person should feel that my interest rate should be at par with the Europe or with Japan or with some other countries, then they will expect that on 2% we should get the money. So it should not happen. The money, 7%, 7.5%, 8% is the right amount of interest rate for a country like India, because we have to continue with the deposits. We have to maintain the depositors' interest in the country and in the banking system. So this is what my view is. I'm not a mathematician, or I'm not a person who writes the economy. But as a common man, I'm telling you that unless that trade-off is maintained, this is not going to help. So no waiver of loan, only moratorium. Okay, little delay. That's all. Finish. And government must come with a lot of projects. So this is what I would say.
Okay. Till the government comes with projects, sir, we can say there is a fairly sharp reduction in automobile sector, real estate construction sector. So which sector you think this pandemic has opened up for us to create demand and steer the industry forward with growth, demand growth?
You see, it's a very difficult question, but the answer is very easy. The easy answer is we have to encourage people to spend money. And when you encourage people to spend money, that means some lucrative schemes are to be launched by the auto sector. You see, we have been seeing a similar model for the last 5 years, 7 years time. So you have to attract people to come and to buy cars. The two-wheeler people should buy a four-wheeler. The small four-wheeler people should buy a medium-sized vehicle, and the medium-sized people should buy a large vehicle. This is one. And there should be some attraction. I think Government of India was discussing a scrap policy, vehicle scrap policy. That policy should come faster, so that people, they hand over the car to the scrap dealers and they get some benefit out of it, and then they go to buy a new car. So are the two-wheelers, so are the other four-wheelers. Similarly, the like buses today, government must come with a law that the city bus will run with maximum 40 passengers. So that means today average passenger in the city bus is 60. So that means all of a sudden we will get at least 1.5 times of demand of the buses. So immediately the motor company like Tata Motors or Ashoka Leyland or Eicher or some of the mini or SUV mini buses people, ACGL, so they will get the business. And the other factor is government must give a very favorable loans to the truckers basically, so that all of the truckers, they are incentivized and they are encouraged to buy more trucks, and the transport business should be very lucrative. So once we make the transport business lucrative, then things will move. I would suggest to government that each trucker should be given at least 10 rupees discount on the diesel, because diesel prices are very high today. So the truck means anybody who is carrying his truck and he gets the diesel filled, so it should be 10 rupees cheaper than a car person or or some other uses. So that will bring the respite to the transporters, and the Indian domestic transportation cost will also reduce. So this is what I suggest to Government of India, that we should come with a policy where the truckers are treated like a farmers. And so whatever facilities we are giving to the farmers in terms of subsidy, so we should give at least 10 rupees of subsidy to the truckers. If we do that, then I'm sure the economy will be on wheels, on the faster wheels, and we can recover.
Okay. Sir, if might be my last question to you, how JSPL under you has handled your employees? Have you laid down any employees? And last and not the least, what impact this unavailability of laborers because they have migrated to their own place will have an impact in the steel industry?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, fortunately, we are located in the eastern part of the country, like Jharkhand, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh, Badbil. So in our case, it is reverse. We have got a lot of labor from rest of the country to these 4-5 states.
Right.
So we are flooded with the labor. So there is no labor shortage, first of all.
Right.
Secondly, I'm proud to say that we have not deducted any salary of anyone for this COVID time. We have paid full salary to all of our employees, senior or junior. Mr. Naveen Jindal, he was kind enough, he considered everything. He told, since my plant was running, so why should I deduct the salary? Right. I will not. I will pay full salary to all of my people. So that is so nice of him. So he is very considerate, he is a very good human being. And he is the person, he is the person who takes care of his people. Mm-hmm. So this is what a great initiative and great encouragement to the team. We didn't downsize our team. As a routine, people going or coming, that is a different issue. But there was no such policy that 25% will be laid off, or 10% will be removed, or say 50% laid off. Even if the people were asked to come from work from home, or they were asked to stay at home, so they were paid full salaries of that period. So this is something very good, what our management, Mr. Jindal himself took very great initiative, and he told everybody that since our plants were running, so we'll pay full salary to all of the people. So we have paid full salary to everyone. Now, as far as the other areas are concerned, like sanitation, like keeping people very healthy, taking their temperature, body temperature 2-3 times in a day, maintaining a proper hygiene in the canteens and cafeterias, and maintaining a different, social distance, that is still continued. And we have taken care of the society around us, and they have also done very well. One thing I would like to tell today, that eastern sector is a big energy generator. Energy generator means they have coal, all the states, and they have power plants. Mm-hmm. But the benefit of electricity charges, electricity cost is not passed on to the people. I mean, today, if the coal is available at just at a royalty plus the mining cost, then the electricity can be generated at maybe 1 rupee 80 paisa or maybe 1 rupee 90 paisa per unit. And I am in the opinion, I have also told in a couple of meetings, that now country must think to make country self-reliant in terms of one country, one tariff. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Gujarat to Aizawl in Nagaland, we should have same tariff. If it is 3 rupees, then it should be 3 rupees. Entire nation should get power at 3 rupees. If it is 3 rupees 50 paisa, okay, 3 rupees 50 paisa. If it is 4 rupees, okay, it is 4 rupees. It should not happen that somewhere we are selling power at 4 rupees and somewhere we are selling power at 12 rupees. So that is, some states are selling at 15 rupees also. So that is not correct. The benefit of coal available in the country cannot be passed on by giving the coal to the people. But for sure, it can be passed on by giving a cheaper electricity to the entire nation, so that each and every corner of the country will get light, electricity, and industries. So this is what we should do now. The next campaign or next declaration from Honorable Prime Minister, we expect that he should declare one country, one electricity tariff, so that a startup person or an industrialist, he should not decide on the basis of, he should not decide his investments on the basis of electricity cost. Because for many companies and many type of industries, the electricity is like a raw material, like aluminum industry, it is raw material. Some of the heating furnaces, it is raw material. Annealing furnaces, it is a raw material. Electricity is a raw material. Some of the ferroalloys company, it is a raw material. Induction furnaces, it is a raw material. And for electric arc furnaces, electricity is a raw material. For nickel coating, the various protective coating, they are tin plates. So electricity is a raw material. So country must get electricity at one tariff, one country. Then the cluster of so many companies at a particular place will not be there. Then companies will be in different areas, different segments, and they'll be decentralized. Once they are decentralized, then the people will not flow from one place to another place for the livelihood. So I think the country, like if you see China, you'll find industrial town in each city. There's an industrial town. So that policy we have to do. Unfortunately, if you see, total 70 lakh to 80 lakh people, they have come back from 5 states. So 5 states are, one is Delhi NCR, we call it NCR, Noida, Gurgaon, Delhi. And then the second is, one is NCR, the second is Bombay, Pune, Ahmednagar, and Nasik, and Aurangabad. Then another is Bombay itself, then Gujarat, and then Karnataka, and then Kerala. Right. If you see from these states, 80 lakh people have come back to 7 states. Which are these 7 states? Odisha is 1, Bengal is 2, Jharkhand is 3, Chhattisgarh is 4, Madhya Pradesh is 5, UP is 6, and Bihar is 7. So 80 lakh people traveling approximately. I do not know the exact numbers, but this is what I have heard, that 80 lakhs people coming back to their home states or hometowns. I mean, it was never thought by anyone. This shows that these 7 states, they have been feeding a lot of technicians and artisans to the whole nation. Right. So now these technicians and artisans, if they get the job within their state, then I think we have addressed the issue. Then the social imbalance will be fully addressed. So, and for that, the biggest role can be played by one tariff, one country formula. So one country, one tariff. Kashmir to Kanyakumari, Gujarat to Nagaland should be same electricity. This is what. The second, I always tell to government that Bengal has a lot of potential which is yet to be discovered and yet to be exploited fully. The other is the 7 sisters of this country. Right. Now we must discuss with government of Bangladesh to allow a corridor from India to another part of India, the 7 sisters. So, for example, from Kolkata to Agartala, there should be a dedicated freight corridor, and we will pay to government of Bangladesh a passage cost that we are utilizing their land, and okay, this rupees per ton or this dollars per ton or so many cents per ton will pay to them. So they will get a foreign exchange, and they will also get a infrastructure for their goods movement on the same track. And India will cut short the distance from 2,000 kilometers or 2,500 kilometers to just 250 kilometers to come back again to India via Bangladesh. So this can be an international dedicated freight corridors, like in Europe, which is happening. If you travel from one country in Europe to another country in Europe, there are no barriers.
Right.
So it should be like that. So we have been maintaining very good relation. The Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister of India and Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, they have very good chemistry, and this can be a win-win situation. So these two things always I suggest. One is in an international dedicated freight corridor passing through Bangladesh, and maybe it can be extended to Myanmar tomorrow. And the second is one country, one electricity tariff.
Right.
That's all from my side.
So last question. In my last interview with you a few months back, you said you believe in produce less, consume less. Do you still stick to that?
You see, do not waste. Do not waste. We have to consume less means there are two things on it. Like if we can, like a steel plate, if this to get the steel a particular strength, if we use a steel plate of 50 millimeter, instead of using 50 millimeter, if we can develop the technology so that the end customer can use a 25 millimeter plate for the same application.
Right.
So that means that is a real value addition and value engineering. So what I mean to say that today we should not think that we go for tons and tons and tons. We should think that we should go for the value addition, value engineering, value addition, value engineering. Reduce the tons, increase the utilization. This is a win-win situation for everybody, because if my customer is using today 10 ton of material for a particular business, and if he can manage in 5 ton, then the cost may not become half, but cost may be 60% of the 10 ton or 70% of the 10 ton. So in the steel industry get maybe 20% more due to value addition, and the consumer, he gets 30% less cost to produce the same item. For example, if today the car is produced from 1.2 millimeter thickness, how can we produce a car with 1 millimeter thickness or 0.8 millimeter thickness? So the principle is that you consume less, but don't compromise on the utility, and you produce less. Why to burden the whole world for nothing? We should produce quality products, and which can be in numbers or quantity maybe less, but utility is full, and we should enhance our capacities accordingly. If you are a general commodity steel manufacturer, I do not support that you just melt and cast. It is not a right principle. So we have to have a value engineering and value addition concept in life. If we do that, then there is no problem. And this is what Japan has done. This is what Korea has done. And not many other countries have done it. Japan and Korea have done it. They are in the value engineering and value addition. VA, VE. I mean, this is what the mantra is. And not the just tonnage. Tonnage is not the solution.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. It was immensely an enlightening interview, as always. I look forward to be in touch with you. Thank you once again from Steel Scenario, sir. Have a good day, sir.
All the best.
Thank you.